I know for a fact it was still owned by Beaverbrooks when you went in there to get them 4 Rolex watches. They were definitely owned by Beaverbrooks.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. I have reported this AD to its own head office, and the upshot of that was they cut me off. I reported this AD to Rolex, and the upshot of that was Rolex said that they're a wholesaler, they won't get involved with the retail side of the business. That's what they said. And I had a conversation with a grey market dealer, and what you're about to see is the transcript of that conversation. I know this grey market dealer personally, and I have sold him a watch. He has made a lot of allegations. I can only go on my experience, and what you're about to hear is both himself and myself in a conversation. But to protect his identity, I have used an app which basically replaces mine and his voice, but it's the same voice. I could spend decades trying to split the two, but I just haven't got the time. All I can say to you guys is this is likely the worst place to go if you want to get a Rolex in the United Kingdom, and I have made it my mission to make sure that everybody is aware of that. My conscience is clear. If you're telling the truth, you don't have to have a good memory. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and I hope you listen to what's said in this video and you take it very seriously.
I know for a fact Whittles was owned by Beaverbrooks when you went in there to get those 4 watches. That was February 2023. There are still gray market dealers that they do still deal with these footballers. These ex-footballers are all gray market dealers. Flipping watches don't ever keep any of them, and they knew they were flipping them. I could name them. These people were having up to 10 watches a month, Jesus, and shilling them when people had been waiting years for these watches. They were getting them like straight away, like Batgirl's Pepsi's green date. Just day dates when they're at the high white Daytona. They were getting everything all the time out of them. Do you remember when you told me you had a relationship with them, and there was another guy I should be dealing with? You had been buying off him for years. You know that morning that you were going there to get a package off him. Was that BS or not? No, that's absolutely true. But that was when it was Whittles. The problem is now it's owned by Beaverbrooks. No, wait, that was only last year. That was only in February, last year, 5th of February 2023. I know for a fact it was still owned by Beaverbrooks when you went in there to get them 4 Rolex watches. They were definitely owned by Beaverbrooks. Then they must have been. I definitely remember you saying you were going there, because you originally said you were picking up 15 watches. I think that day I picked up 4. I was due to have 15 watches from them, or not all due to be picked up that day. There was about 15. But it was so long ago. I thought so too, but when I thought back it was in February 2023. I remember that was only last year. Yeah, it was all their criteria for dealing with trade. Just ended all those other watches that I was supposed to pick up. I never got that day. I'm pretty certain I picked up 4 Rolex from them. I went back and pick up a load of Breitlings later on too. My view is they're behaving higher than now. They took £17,500 off me in September. Then they strung me along on a promise of a bat girl. I thought you were still with them. That's why I said to you, if you get a bat girl out of there, let me know. And then you said no, you're not buying from them anymore. I finally ended up picking one up from another much nicer AD, and I've told Whittles to get lost, and I just think how dare they treat people like this. They just strung me along for months, and probably a lot of other people, and their exact word previously were, you are getting the next one. Well, if I was getting the next one, where was it? I'll tell you another story. I was promised to date just 41, the green one, last February. March time, they said I would be getting the next one. And then I got a phone call from you know who said they can no longer deal with me and not sell me the watch anymore. It's like you do something illegal, and then because you don't do it anymore, you can just get away with it. You can brush it under the carpet. It's not illegal about what they did, but it's totally frowned upon. 1,000,000%, 1,000,000%, yes. What's your view on me calling them out on this and using your name? What if I say this company knowingly sold to a gray market dealer during the height? Obviously, you can't quote my name because I've had a relationship with them for many years. You can't even go in the door now because you are a gray market dealer. But a year ago or 2 years ago during the height when the going was good, they were happy to sell to you through the back door. They would have been selling to you in 2021 and 2022, making money hand over fist million percent. I went and saw them during the whole of COVID from when they were open. I went and saw them a lot. I know ex-footballers had so many watches out of there, and they knew they were flipping them at least 10 watches a month and chilling the watches. When people were waiting years for these watches, they were getting them straight away. Batgirls, Pepsi, Green Day dates, when they were at the height white Daytonas, they were getting everything all the time out of them. They're not the only Rolex dealer that deals with the gray market, you know. I know they are, and I'll tell you something else. I deal with gray market dealers all the time, and I get loads of subscribers asking me to recommend them to my AD. But I would never recommend a gray market dealer to my AD because it's frowned upon. And I would never tell my Rolex authorized dealer, hey, my friend Bob is a really nice guy. Can you please sell him a watch? I would never recommend him to get a watch because he's a gray market dealer. That's a conflict of interest. Absolutely, we all know what the no-nos are. What really pissed me off about Whittles is they are nice to your face, but they must laugh at us all behind our backs. I know for a fact they were owned by Beaverbrooks when you went in to collect those 4 watches. They most certainly were. And I never said anything. Because I didn't want to rock the boat, right? I just thought I'd keep my mouth shut. But they're so higher than now. Do you know what else they said to me about that Batgirl? They told me I'm getting the next Batgirl. They then invited me to a meeting to look at all the new Rolexes. One of them was a Bruce Wayne. I said, what's the point of going to that meeting when the watch has been out for months? And you've already sold it to people. Yes, we have. Already sold it, that's what they said. These people spent more money than you, Brendan. I spent nearly 40 grand with them. And I spent 17 grand with you just last September. We've got a lot of customers who spend a lot more money than you, Brendan. Important customers. So I said, well then, what's the point of me going to look at watches? I can never have. Then they said, well, there's people waiting for this watch, and my point was, how can they be waiting for a watch? That didn't exist 4 months ago, so my point was this Bruce Wayne is new. I'm waiting for a Batgirl. There is no list for the Bruce Wayne. You told me I'm getting the next Batgirl. Why didn't you just offer me a Bruce Wayne? No, that's not how it works, Brendan. I knew it was bullshit. But I really appreciate you letting me know what was really going on at Whittles. Yes, absolutely, I won't use your name. I've already told them to get stuffed. There are still gray market dealers that they do business with their ex-footballers. But they know that the gray market dealers, they keep flipping these watches. They never keep them. And it seems to be that they turn a blind eye to it. Not all the watches I bought from them were Rolex. A lot of Breitling, a lot of Omegas. What discount were you getting on the Omegas? Because they're making people pay full price for Omegas to get to Rolex's Seamasters, 30% off. That's great. Some of the bigger stuff up to 50% off. Solid gold Seamaster Aguatera, I think, was 23 grand. I paid 9K for it. They made a very big deal about giving me 20% off in Omega. Anyway, thanks for your time, mate. I really appreciate you giving me this honest feedback.
Well, there you have it, guys. 2 people sharing their experiences of the same place. I will never back down. You cannot bully me. You cannot continue to harass me and poke the bear and not expect me to retaliate. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll catch you on the next Brenny video.